yeah! The Lachhhisters against the Doorframe. Please, everybody, spam them, even though they're already in the chat. Let's do it. Let's do it anyway, alright? Let's just pretend that, yeah, they're not in the chat. I hope they will be there. Oh, look at that beautiful gentleman. Now, both of you are here already. Sweet, guys. So I can see your pretty face, but the audience cannot see your pretty face. So I will play a little intro, like right now. It's gonna take like 5 or 10 seconds, and everybody will be able to see your beautiful faces. Alright, so stick right there.
Wonderful.
And also, QBPT is following the channel. It's awesome people I'd like to be! Special edition, we have 2 awesome people today. Woohoo! We got Robin Srit and Mr. Moustachio. Please, guys, present yourself. You're in the spotlight right now. The audience is yours. Present yourself. Tell your story. Tell what you do. Coder, artist, game developer, awesome people in general. Go ahead.
Okay. I guess I'll go first. So I'm actually I'm a full-time worker. I'm in the military, so okay. I made this game on my off time. Okay. So I get about 4 to 6 hours of sleep a night.
So you did it? Is it like your first project on this?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Cool. And like, when did you start that? When did you start like, okay, I want to make a game? Because we saw the trailer and it looks gorgeous. So did you make the art, the coding, the?
So I did all the coding. I attempted the art.
Okay.
It was pretty bad. So I actually ended up contracting out some work to some artists. I actually have 3 different pixel artists.
Okay.
But yeah, I paid with that out of my own money.
Okay.
So I could get this demo going and make it look pretty. But.
And is it your first project in code? I mean, did you self-taught everything, or?
Yes.
Whoa.
I'm an idiot.
No, you're a trooper. Dude, I had like 5 years of school to learn coding. So you're a genius, man.
Oh, well, thanks.
That's what I keep trying to tell him. He never listens.
Mr. Moustachio, what is your involvement in the game?
So I am a story writer and concept designer, I guess you could say. I'm working with Warren in creating different game elements, how it's going to play out, and also kind of trying to make sure that the game gets built around the narrative. So a lot of the weapons, items, ways that levels are all set up are conducive to the narrative.
Okay.
I guess I'm also kind of the face, the PR face of it,
I love your little eyes.
Who wouldn't want a face like this, right?
Yes, and the demons scare me out. So I actually, a story to tell you to the audience, actually. I've met Mr. Moustachio at PAX East, I believe, the first time. But he has, like, that big demon face and, like, that voice from hell. He was like, hey, Lachhh. I was like, ah! So I was super scared. And then, like, that stuck in my memory. And then I met him again at TwitchCon and said, like, yeah, I have a little guy, like, it's a demon and everything. He was like, dude, that was you! I was scared for real. Like, when you talk in that demon voice, that was a good setup. That's a character on your Twitch channel, right?
Yes, he is. Actually, I'm kind of glad that you brought him up because his name is Belial. He is a demon from Heck. It is pronounced Heck.
Okay.
And don't believe what the mainstream media tells you about demons. They're actually fun-loving entities that just want to party. They're not out to steal anybody's souls. But the real cool thing about Belial, and if you hop over to, and I know I'm probably jumping the gun here talking about the Kickstarter already, but the Kickstarter for this game is out.
Yep.
We're trying to get this bad boy funded. And we'll talk about the passion in the project later. But you'll notice that one of the stretch goals is to actually get Belial as a hidden boss in the game.
No way.
Yes. And
that's gonna be awesome.
Now Belial has done motion capture before. He actually did motion capture for Belial from Diablo 3, but it wasn't actually sculpted after him. So that's the correlation there. But the ideas that Warren and I have for Belial being in the game, honestly, guys, it's going to be really worth it. I'm not going to say it's going to be the best boss battle that you've ever played in any game ever, but it's probably going to be in a top 10 list somewhere on YouTube.
to take my money. Shut up and take my money. By the way, guys, if you want to send some links in the chat, like right now about your Kickstarter or anything that we're talking about, go ahead. You are in the spotlight. You are the prettiest girl in the room right now. So please spam the chat.
So while Warren's doing that, I'll talk a little bit about the history of the game.
Yeah, sure.
And if I'm overstepping my bounds, Warren, just let me know. I just know you're not very local.
No, we heard you talking super casual, so go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Plus Warren just had his uvula shaved last week, so that's gotta hurt, buddy. How you feeling?
Like crap.
And he's still here for you guys. He's still here for you guys. That says something about this man's passion. So Warren over here, Warren decided a long time ago that he was sick and tired of not having a good Metroidvania game to fill that niche, that hole, that gaping wound that he had for so many years. And, you know, of course, you could always go back to, like, Symphony of the Night or any of the Game Boy Advance Castlevania games if you wanted to, or Metroid. But, you know, how many times you guys played that? And more importantly, I think the real question is, how easy are those games? Because I'm pretty sure you can blow past those games in a couple hours without much effort or thinking.
Shield rod and Alucard shield, just...
Yeah, so true, so true. It breaks it, or the Chrysogrim. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can
But
get it.
So you wanted to make like a harder game, like based on like that's definitely an inspiration, like all the Castlevania we can see with the trailer. But you just like wanted to make your own take on that, I guess, like an iteration on it.
Yeah, I'm a bit sadistic and I like to watch people die, so I really like Dark Souls.
You start the conversation like that?
No, I really like Dark Souls, and that's kind of the theme I was going for with this one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so Warren here, and this is why I actually pitched the idea of having Warren come on your show, because Warren right over here, he got so sick and tired of not having a game that he sat down and learned a programming language by himself, taught himself with the help of YouTube and various internet sites over the course of 2.5 years, built the engine from scratch.
What?
Yes, this engine that you guys are going to see in this game, or can actually play in this game because the pre-alpha is available on the Kickstarter page.
Okay.
But that was built from scratch by this dude right over here. I think we need to get like a little bit of hype for that, because that's pretty damn impressive.
Damn. Yeah,
Plus, you know, he had a full-time job serving this country at the time as well when he started all this. So I mean, really, it's awesome that he did it, and that's part of the reason why I was so passionate to hop on this project, because seeing a guy that cares that much for what I consider a piece of art is mind-blowing to me, and I wanted to attach myself and just ride those coattails, you know?
You're literally a trooper.
Yeah, he is.
Dude, though, that's amazing, though. I mean, how... Okay, I'm gonna say, like, why did you write your own engine, and how did it all started? Like, how did you start to code? Because I get that question a lot on this channel, actually. Like, what should I start with if I want to learn to code? So that would be awesome to learn from somebody who's self-taught himself.
Well, I mean, I just searched YouTube for tutorials and just followed the tutorials. I did one after the other, and eventually I started doing it so much it just kind of became second nature. At least I thought it was at that point. Obviously now I'm a lot better than I was, but yeah, it's just practice is all it is.
And what language, what tools did you use to start? Like YouTube, yes, but
I mainly use assembly. I'm just kidding.
Wait, fuck it, I'm not a game dev anymore.
No, I actually use C#, so
okay.
It's a lot easier.
C#, but C# indirectly with OpenGL, or you use Unity, or?
I used Microsoft Visual Studio, XNA.
Okay, with XNA. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then you build your own stuff to render and have animation on top of that.
Yeah.
Dude, that's impressive. And
thanks.
Why did you build your own engine? Like, why did you build your own stuff? Just because of the thrill of making your own stuff, so you can have your own tool for yourself, or just that the other tools out there didn't like worth it or something?
Honestly, I guess I just wanted something that was mine, that I created.
Dude,
that's pretty much it.
I'm gonna have another round of applause right there. It's gonna have some animation on the edited version of that video. So when did you start the project?
It was 2013, June or July 2013.
So about 2 years ago.
Huh?
So about 2 years ago.
Yeah, a little over 2 years ago. Yeah.
And you start like learning codes theoretically while jumping into that project, or did you do a couple of other little games before that, or
just tutorials and just messing around, and then I was just like, screw it, I'm just gonna make my own game, and just kept working at it. I redid it a few times, obviously for optimization purposes, because I didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, I just kept working at it, kept fixing it, and eventually I got to where I am now.
That is amazing. That's amazing. So, yeah, I am speechless, actually. That's pretty cool. I want to jump on the question from the audience, guys, if you don't mind. We got a couple of awesome questions here. Hang on. This one has been said already, but I'm asking anyway. Trimake is saying, do you have any information of a game dev, or everything is self-thought? So that's been said already. Self-thought with YouTube's. What the hell? Sorry, like the questions are. You're really cool. Will you sign my panties, pretty please? There you go. There you go. What's your answer?
Warren, are you allowed to do that?
Off the screen, yeah.
Off the screen, yeah. Oh, we got Mr. Rex here. How do you prevent burnout? He always asks that question. I mean, that guy. I love it. But yeah, you obviously like work. We have like your full work already. Plus, you work on that project a lot. I mean, don't you burn out? Question: what superpower do you have?
Well, I am a ginger, so I have fiery red hair already. So, no, I don't know. That's like the biggest struggle, I think, is preventing yourself from getting burnt out. I mean, I think, I don't know, after a few months, usually I'll take a week off. I probably won't do anything, but I'll go right back into it, because I always have that sense of accountability, I guess. Like, I feel like I need to get this out there to the gamers as quick as possible, so I always feel like I'm under pressure. So it's hard for me to just stop working completely. So I always feel like I have to get back to work, if that makes sense. So it kind of squashes the burnout feeling.
And now that you have the project on Kickstarter, I guess that you have yet another deadline, right? Like, now you're exposing your little project that you're working for 2 years straight. Now everybody can see it, so now you can have that pressure.
Yes, my 2.5 years of work, you can quickly judge for 5 seconds of watching the video.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
So, what's your plan with the game? Do you want to release on PC, on consoles, or what's the future of that game?
Well, I've already been greenlit, so that's the first step, is to release on Steam. And that didn't take very long. But I think when I originally started working on it, I wanted to make it for consoles, because that was like, those are the kind of games that I wanted to play. I wanted to sit there behind a TV on my couch with a controller and play those kind of games. And I didn't feel like there were that many that kind of fit that description. So I really want to put this out on consoles. Right now it's on my Kickstarter for a stretch goal, but that's just because of, development costs and time. But,
okay. And how many people are involved in the project right now? So you hired a couple of artists as well, and Mr. Moustachio is there as well.
Yes. So there's me. I'm the creator developer. I wrote all the code and everything.
Yep.
I currently have 3 different artists. I have a musician and sound effects guy that I contract out to. I got Mr. Moustachio and Tom. They're 2 story writers. They're helping out pro bono. Unless I get overfunded, then I'll end up paying them. Shove money down their throats. But
my money. Where's my money?
Where's my money?
But, I mean, and then I have one other buddy that makes games, a programmer that is going to help me out part-time as well too.
Okay.
But that's pretty much the team.
So about 6. And how did you find those people? I get that question a lot. Like, how can I find a team? How can I find an artist, a coder, whatever? So, what was your secret to find like a six-person team?
So that's the hardest part. I'm pretty picky about who I have working with me. So I did months of play testing, or I guess style testing for the artists. So I would stalk artists. I'd go through their profiles, and then I'd end up messaging a few of them that I liked. I'd send them a piece of work to do, and I'd say, and obviously I paid for everything. You know, I'd give them some money and say, hey, can you do this for me? I want to see what it looks like. They'd send it back. I'd send it back for an adjustment, and if they send it back and I liked it, then I'd want them as part of the team. Okay. And I did that with all 3 artists. I did that with the musician. And also kind of stalked Moustachio here for a bit too, but I like his story work, so he does a really good job too.
So back to Mr. Moustachio then. Mr. Moustachio, you told earlier that everything in the game you wanted to be binded in the story, like weapons and everything. Can you give an example of that? Like how?
Actually, yeah, so a lot of the paths that you can take in the game are going to be based off of the choices that you make. And I'm not saying, you know, like, oh, do you want to save this guy or steal this gold sort of thing, but choices is in where you go in the very beginning of the game. You know, do you run into a character and he tells you to go over this bridge, but you kind of go a different way around to maybe find more things? That could affect the, you know, maybe that character dies because of the time that you took going somewhere else as opposed to helping him out immediately. So that could change because maybe now he won't be able to open up a secret passageway later in the game. I'm trying not to give away too much.
Spoilers alert!
Spoiler alerts, yes.
That non-disclosure agreement.
That's, oh no. Warren, sorry. You know, another one that we're kind of working on, and you know, we're not sure if it's going to be implemented, but can I talk about sub weapons? Can I talk about the sub weapon idea?
Yeah, we literally just came up with this last night, so yeah, go ahead.
All right, so you know, for the typical, let's say, Castlevania game, you have the sub weapons like the axe, the knife, the boomerang, or the cross, depending on, you know, which localization you have and all that fun jazz. Which, if you play the alpha demo, those are in there. They're very similar. We have the hammer, you know, the knife, the axe, things like that. But we were kind of thinking about it. We didn't necessarily want to take those directly from any other game and run with it. We've been trying to figure out a way that we could adjust those. So back in the time that this is all set, they used to have something called, I forget exactly what but fire extinguishing bulbs. And they're these glass bulbs, probably about this big or so, that they used to fill with various chemicals and water. And you would take these bulbs and you would either catapult them into a fire or just throw them directly on the fire. They'd cover the fire and smother it. Well, you know, dark flame, fire kind of go hand in hand, I guess you could say. But, you know, we decided, why not take something that is, you know, physical, is kind of built around the time and the lore of this, and fill them with different substances. You know, maybe one has ashes of a holy man, which is kind of taken a little bit from another Castlevania, or you know, holy water in one. But let's make it so that they have different trajectories. So maybe the holy water you toss up in the air and lob it, and it goes in an arc, and it hits an enemy midway through. Well, that shatters the glass, and at later levels, that could spit all of that water into a larger area after it hits the first enemy.
Okay, gotcha. So using the same weapon can have different effect depending on the environment. Is that it?
Yes. Okay. Yes, it can.
Okay.
But again, you know, we wanted it to kind of feel like it was kind of built around the narrative and the setting of the story, as opposed to just saying, oh, well, here's an axe. Oh, there's a knife that you can now throw. You know, we wanted something a little bit more original to it.
Yeah, not just like, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this. All right.
Exactly.
More, okay.
Exactly. We also have a. Can we talk about the wording faction system?
So many spoilers.
I don't want to give all of it away, but
it's a stretch goal. But yeah.
It is okay. So it is a stretch goal. We have to hit it, but you know, the warring faction system. One of Warren's great ideas, in my humble opinion, was the idea of these two factions that are constantly battling in the background. And I wanted to bring that to life a little bit more. So we came up with this idea of actually having the two factions war, and you can fund one and assist one. And they can be the same faction, or they can be different factions depending on what you want to do. So maybe your decisions in the game is helping out faction A, but you're actually secretly funding faction B to get some perks from them. So you can make decisions. But we wanted to build the narrative around that as well, because we wanted this story to be going on the outside of the main story that kind of weaves into it. We built this whole warring faction system based off of that narrative, of having this kind of side battle going on within humanity while this big battle's going on against the Dark Flame.
So as I understand, like the story is like the bottom of everything. Like when you build something, it has to contribute to the story first. It has to be something. So like the story is the first inspiration, the seed that grow the other ideas. So it's very, very super important. I have like zero experience into story making games. Like my kind of games is like explosions, pew pew, wee, level up, you know. So I'm like more into like gameplay now and talk later. but like that's I have a lot of respect for people who can do that, because like I suck at it, but like I love games that do that. And I'm wondering like what is your development? What is your process to make a story-driven game?
Alcohol. Lots and lots of alcohol.
But I do drink alcohol as well. No, yeah, it doesn't work.
Well, whenever we're starting with a story, and my process obviously is going to be way different from everybody else, but just a quick kind of history on me. I guess you could say I'm a veteran at this point, but I've been in the production industry for probably about 8 years now.
Oh, okay.
You know, I've done short films. I've done YouTube series for other people. I was actually working on a YouTube series for 343 Studios. And, excuse me, I've actually written a couple stories for some indie games in the past. But over the years, I've kind of refined my process. And really, my process first relies on getting together with my friend Tom King, who's also a writer for The Dark Flame. I pulled him into the project under threat of blackmail to Warren. But
you guys have a special relationship. Talking about NDAs and giving me money and blackmail.
It's mostly a blackmail relationship, right, Warren?
It's a great business relationship, yes.
It is.
That's how you get in touch with
If you have any business questions, please get in contact with ThatMoustachio.
I will blackmail anybody you guys want to get you in the industry if I have to. That's how much I care about you viewers.
That's great.
But it really starts out with the overarching plot. That's where I always begin my stories with. I want to make sure that the story that I tell is larger in scope than the actual story that you're going to see. So I want to make sure when we first started writing Dark Flame, the actual story, what I call the skeleton version of the story for Dark Flame, I wrote the story for Dark Flame 3.
Okay.
So I wanted to make sure that
Darkest Flame.
Darkest Flame. Dark Flame. Dark Flame 1 is Dark Flame. Dark Flame 2, Darker Flame.
Yeah.
Dark Flame 3, Darkest Flame.
And then you go like Super Basic on the Darkest Flame.
The Darkest that's the DLC though. That's the DLC.
More flames.
Buy Dark Flame 5. Way too many flames. But when I wrote it, I wanted to make sure that we had a story going all the way into Dark Flame 3. And maybe, you know, Dark Flame 3 will never be made. But with your support, it totally will. Because I will find another thing to blackmail Warren Smith to get him to make another one and then another one. But I wanted to make the story that it would arc over all three. So I built the idea, what is the main problem? What is our main antagonist? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a person, an entity, a demon, or a thing. It could be the negative driving force could be, a character's insecurities. It could be lack of knowledge, or something along those lines. So we built this really big overarching story, and we have an idea for all three now. So once I have that overarching story, I say, okay, now what aspect of the story, what part of that story am I going to tell in the first one? Then what part is going to be in the second one, and what part's going to be in the third one? So I break it up into different pieces, and I make sure that in each of the storytelling parts, all three, you go through a different form of growth for the character, okay? The first one, discovering the enemy. The second one, realizing that you may not be strong enough to defeat the enemy. And the third one being, you have become strong enough to beat the enemy and overcome the odds, and now it's time to kick its ass. That is based off of a hero's journey, also known as the monomyth. And if you guys are getting into writing, I highly, highly, highly recommend you check out the monomyth and what that is about. It's essentially this theory that every single story is the same story.
Yeah, I heard about that. Like even like Harry Potter or Hunger Games or even Hercules, like they're all from the same thing, right? Maybe yes. I'm wrong though. Like I saw like a TSA video on YouTube on that. It's like all the heroes' journey, like not are the same, but they go through a pattern of. Maybe you can probably like tell me more about that though. I have like a small idea of that.
So yeah, and actually, it's funny because a comedy YouTube video that I found last year has, in my humble opinion, the best description of the monomyth in a quick time. Okay. And I'll post the link a little bit later. I don't want to distract from the interview and Warren right now, but it's a fantastic description. I think it does better justice than I would ever do. But essentially, it breaks every character in the story into a certain character archetype. You have the hero, who obviously is your protagonist in the story. You have the big bad. I forget the name of the big bad, but I just call him Big Bad, which essentially is the true boss, the main negative driving force. You have things called threshold guardians, which are the enemies leading up to the boss that helps the hero grow. Yeah. You have the herald, which is the person, place, or thing that essentially tells the hero to go on a journey, because the hero is never, hero never starts the tale like, let's go on a journey, guys. It's always something that drives him. Yep. And there's a lot of other aspects to it, and we could probably be here for another 2 hours if I got into that. But I wanted to create it around the monomyth of the hero's journey, the hero's tale. And I also made sure that over the course of those three that there is going to be some sort of specific growth in all three of those. So I wrote the growth for the first one. I came up with the idea for the growth of the second one. And then we're polishing off the growth on the third one and what that means to the character and what that means to the overarching story. Once we got that, then we came up with the theme. Because theming is super duper important. If you don't listen to me about the monomyth, listen to me about this. Theming, incredibly important for making a narrative-based game, or a narrative-driven game.
Okay.
Theming is where you're going to get gameplay elements from, story elements from, dialogue from, character archetypes from. So you have to come up with a theme or an idea for a game. And I'm trying to think of a good example. Final Fantasy VII. The theming for that game is loss and coping with loss. And if you think about Final Fantasy VII, every single character in that game has experienced loss in some way, shape, or form, sometimes multiple times. And that dictates where the story goes a lot. So you have, in the very beginning, Cloud has lost his personality and his memories and who he is. Sephiroth has lost essentially his mind and his mother. Barrett's lost his arm. Barrett's buddy Dine lost his daughter and his arm as well. I forget what Tifa lost. Tifa lost her family.
Spoiler alert, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Whoops, spoiler alert.
Good point.
But if you go back and you really think of the story of Final Fantasy VII, you realize that every single plot device in that game is driven by a loss of something. And the final the final moment of the game is Aerith, or supposedly Aerith, reaching out and saving Cloud from the crater. And that's kind of marking the moment that the main character, your hero, accepts the loss and moves on and decides it's time to move on with his life. And that's when the story truly completes in that game, is because the acceptance of that loss and the ability to move on from it. So theming is incredibly important. So the next thing we did was theme the game. And did you want to say what the theme was, Warren? Did you want to do that? I don't know how much you want to tell about. Yeah, I don't want to give it away.
Maybe on the next episode.
Maybe on the next episode. Maybe on the next episode. But we came up with a theme for the game, and we decided to build all of these characters that Warren had been creating and thinking about in his mind. We decided to build their personalities based off of that theme. You know what? And the theme is not loss, but for the example, if we were to go with loss, what loss would these characters experience that drives them through the narrative? So we started building the characters' personalities around that, and their growth or lack of growth around that theme.
That's very interesting. I mean, sorry, I cut you off, but that's very interesting. I mean, I had never heard the theory of loss in like Final Fantasy VII. I played that game like 7 times, and but one thing though, I had a French brain at that moment, and I didn't speak English, so I was just like skip dialogue, skip. So I don't know much about the story of Final Fantasy VII. No, I'm exaggerating though, but my point is I never heard that theory about loss, and yeah, you're right. Like every single character is about loss and like the final moment, everything. So super interesting for me. Like I didn't realize that there was that process behind creating a story. Like find a theme, and each character should be tied into that theme, like differently, but still, like as you said, like they have to experience loss in some point. So what kind of other theme would be there? Because when you were talking about theme, I was thinking you talking about like Western or sci-fi or pirates. So that was I had in mind. I didn't know what the theme was. So like what other type of theme, or do you have any other example on that? That's super interesting.
Like medieval Crusader dark theme. Is that what you're looking for?
Sorry, what?
Yeah,
like the medieval Crusader dark theme, like that kind of thing?
Yeah. I mean, when you were talking about theme, I thought you were talking about Western or whatever, but like, obviously you have a different way of that. So like, I want to know what other theme than loss could be into a story.
Okay. So there's actually a difference. You could say theme, which is kind of what you're talking about. Like the theme of this game is old Crusades. And I screw this name up every single time. You're gonna have to correct me. The Zobunbralu, is it? I was way off, wasn't it?
Zobunbralu.
Zobunbralu, yes, which is a Northern Baltic Crusaders, off the coast of Riga. But that was all Warren's doing. But what you're talking about is theming.
Okay.
So what other theming sort of storytelling things can I think of? I can't really. I don't necessarily want to give away the theming for this game.
Yeah, sure.
But it is somewhat of a big spoiler to the game, I guess you could say.
Yeah, of course. But you had like a good example with Final Fantasy VII. So I'm just wondering, like, you have like more example. I'm craving for know more about that. And you said that theme was super important, so I want you to babble more about theming.
You know what? Actually, I'm going to use a tried and true example because it was incredibly well explained by a YouTube artist, Egoraptor. Mega Man X.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Let's talk about the theming in that game.
Yes.
So, when you start off, you're playing the first level, and this is really the first time they've ever just dropped you into a level in the beginning of a game, or a Mega Man game, without any explanation or you choosing a boss or whatever. So you go through, and then you come up to the first main boss, right? Mm-hmm. And you fight the boss, but you notice that the boss doesn't have a health bar, which is the first time in any Mega Man game that's ever happened. So you have no idea how much health he has, how much damage you're doing, if you're doing any damage at all, and he crushes you, just absolutely destroys you. Yeah. And then here comes this dude X, that blasts his fucking arm off in one shot. Holy crap, amazing, right?
Yeah.
So in the very beginning, Zero, tells X, like, hey man, you're not strong enough now, but you know what? Eventually you're going to get strong enough. And there may even be a day where you get stronger than me. And after seeing what he just did to Vile, that's amazing. Like, holy crap, I want to play this game and get stronger.
Yeah.
So the theming for that game is getting stronger. And it's if you really think about it, that theming is a little bit, I don't want to say bland, but very straightforward. Because of course you're going to get stronger in every game. Why, especially an RPG or a Mega Man game, but more so than any of the other Mega Mans, getting stronger so that you can overcome your enemies is just entrenched in that game. So think about it. You have the power-ups. There are a butt ton of power-ups, and there've never been power-ups like that in previous Mega Man games. Nothing that extends your life like it did in Mega Man X. Nothing that reduces damage on a permanent basis like the chest piece, or makes your shot more powerful from a base standard.
Or unlock new skills like jumping further, or like the dash mechanic and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all about getting stronger. And even the old capsules with Dr. Light, he keeps saying, hey, X, I made you, but I wanted to make you stronger. So here is a thing to give you to make you stronger. And ultimately you start battling stronger and stronger enemies, and I know it's kind of a tried and true Mega Man method, but when you go back and you fight the enemies again the second time in the Sigma stages, it's really driven home how fucking easy it is to destroy those guys by the time you get super powered up. And you just wreck them. And that's one of the reasons why that is so prevalent in all the Mega Man games, because it shows you how much stronger you have gotten. So the player feels that they are getting stronger with Mega Man. And then ultimately, when you take on Sigma at the very end, he's insulting you and telling you you're never going to be powerful enough to defeat me yet.
Like all the bosses in the history of video games are doing.
Yeah, right. Like I said, it is a straightforward theming, but ultimately you do overcome and actually you get better, supersede the Zero in the game. But that is the theming for Mega Man, is getting stronger, and all those gameplay elements are based off of it.
We're gonna link that video actually on the chat later, because that is like one of the best that is one of the best video I've heard on game development actually. So this one, and how to convey information to the player without using words.
Exactly.
I want to talk to that guy at one point. Yeah. So to get back to the game, actually, before we close the interview, to get back onto the game, I see that you have lots of content for the game. So how far in development is it right now with the alpha? Is it 10%, 20, or do you need another year or two to finish the game? Because you keep talking about new content, so I'm just wondering what's your plan on that?
There's so much more I want to add. So I think I'm planning for a year of development after this gets funded.
Okay.
The reason being, I already have the engine pretty much solid where it's at right now. There's a few small bugs and things that I could probably fix. But as far as content goes, there's definitely a lot that I want to add. There's a lot of stuff that wasn't in the pre-alpha demo. A lot, yeah. And it just, it really, the scope of it, I mean, it's pending on the Kickstarter, how much the game gets funded as well. So I can't really say exactly how much of the game is done now as opposed to how much will be done. But just there's a lot of content I want to add though.
Okay. So we're talking about a year of development still, to at least have the basic. Because I guess that if you have all the stretches, you're gonna have you're gonna have enough money to hire more people, so you can get development faster. So
exactly.
There you go. Sweet. So we're gonna follow that Kickstarter, my friends. So please, after the interview, please spam the chat with your Kickstarter, with all your stuff, with Twitter, Facebook, the way we can reach you guys. So thank you very much for being on the show, guys. I wish you good luck with your Kickstarter. It sounds amazing. We learned a lot of stuff from you guys. I really thank you very much. And like Warren Smith, I don't know how you did it, but keep doing it.
I'll try. Yeah.
All right. So thank you very much, guys. Have a good time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. See you.